Hey, this is Don. Um, I've been kind of busy, so I'm not sure how to present this, but it's like God showed me something in Matthew 28. I was going through there. Um, it says concerning the resurrection of Jesus Christ. In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre, and behold, there was a great earthquake. Now remember, there were the Roman soldiers who were told to guard the tomb. Make it sure as you can to make sure nothing happens. So you've got these Roman soldiers guarding the tomb, and you have this, not just an earthquake, you have a great earthquake. So this is something that the soldiers witness, right? For the angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it. Now, again, they witnessed this. You talk about something to talk about. Verse 3, his countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow. And for fear of him, here's the reaction of these soldiers. This isn't just something like, oh, wow, that's kind of cool. This puts a very, very heavy impression on these soldiers. And remember, they're combat soldiers. They're used to whatever. And this does the following to them in verse 4. And for fear of him, the keepers did shake. So it's not like they just passed out right away. They're witnessing all of this, and then they're shaking from their adrenaline and their fear, and became as dead men. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they fainted. Became as dead men. They might have just collapsed on the ground and just either played dead, or they were just so afraid they just huddled on the ground like little children in the fetal position, not knowing what to do and too afraid to even run. But don't you know that soldiers are going to be very honest men, and they're going to want to talk. They call it scuttlebutt. There's things that are talked about amongst soldiers, and you get things are just revealed from soldiers in the field that you wouldn't get from the news media or from professional sources. It's leaked out from a ground level like that, and that these men, at some point, there was four quaternions of soldiers. What's that? 16? Let's just say it's only a dozen. I think it's 16, but let's say it's a dozen soldiers. Somebody's going to talk, and probably most likely several of them, especially after you have some time that goes by, and they feel like, okay, I'm safe now. I think I can talk about this, or I have a conviction that I need to talk about this. And don't you know that these soldiers, there would be several of them after they started to hear about his resurrection from 500 people talking about it, all these witnesses, and they start hearing about Christianity. They start hearing about these individuals and what they're preaching, and they're preaching on the resurrection and what the death on the cross meant and who Jesus really was. Don't you know that several of these Roman soldiers would have become some kind of preachers? You'd have heard about them from history. You'd have had someone like what's the guy's name, Josephus? You'd had somebody writing about these great bold speaking preachers who were, a couple of them were the Roman soldiers at the tomb, and they were so greatly moved that they preached boldly after that. You don't hear about that now, do you? Verse 5, And the angel answered and said unto the women, Fear not ye, for ye know that ye seek Jesus, which was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen. Then go down to verse 11. Now when they were going, behold, some of the watch came into the city. The soldiers, right? And showed unto the chief priests all the things that were done. And when they were assembled with the elders and had taken counsel, they gave large money unto the soldiers. They're going to bribe. This is the mafia. This is your chief priests and your council here, your elders. This is your mafia. This is your Clintons and your Obamas and your Bidens and your CIA and your deep state. All this sort of thing going on 2,000 years ago. Nothing's ever changed. There's no new thing under the sun. So they're going to try and shut these guys up right away. I mean, they can't just kill them. They got to do this in a smart manner. But they got to shut this up. So they gave him large money unto the soldiers, saying, verse 13, Say ye, his disciples came by night and stole him away while we slept. And if this come to the governor's ears, we will persuade him and secure you. There's certain words I learned out in the world that I could very easily use here, associated with cows and bulls. Have you ever thought that? You ever gone by verse 14 and thought, this is a bunch of bull? And if this come to the governor's ears, we will persuade him and secure you. So they took the money and did as they were taught, and this saying is commonly reported unto the Jews unto this day. Now, don't you know what happened? Now, this is what the Lord, I believe, told me or showed me. In verse 14, one of two things happened. Either they gave him great money and they said, oh, hey, you're secured. Nothing's going to happen to you. You just trust us. We'll take care of you. Bada bing, bada boom. Forget about it. And you know what would happen? I mean, if they found out that the soldiers had this very important job, they had this very important job and they slept on the job, they would be killed very, very quickly. It's not like, well, we're going to put you in jail and we're going to give you a trial and da-da-da-da. No. You guys fell asleep on your watch. This was a very important deal. Now the body is gone. Now this is going to create a huge uproar. And they just kill them. And as they're going to the chopping block or the whatever, they're thinking, well, where's this council? Where are the elders and the Jews that said that they would come and secure us? Where's the priests? They said we'd be okay. Where are they? Where are they? And they don't ever show up, and they just let them get killed. Witnesses vanish, right? You don't want any loose ends. You just let them be killed. Remember, this is the group. These elders, these priests, these chief priests. They didn't have any problem wanting to kill Jesus. No problem whatsoever. They didn't have any problem killing anybody. If you disagreed with them on a matter, they'd throw you over a cliff or want to have you stoned. Are you kidding? Killing someone was no big deal to them. They were murderers. And here's these soldiers that know a little too much. They are direct witnesses to what took place. You think they're going to let them live? They either let the governor, the chief over the Romans, the high muckety-mucks over the Romans, whether it was the government there or their commanding officers, they either let them do the dirty work and they let them get killed without securing them and lied to them about securing them, or they maybe paid somebody else off and, like David. Remember David? He said, take Uriah, have him go out to the hottest part of the battle, and then withdraw from them, and let's just make sure they accidentally get killed in battle. Remember that? You just have to know who to pay. Yeah, we need these particular Roman soldiers taken into a hot part of the battle. You need to withdraw from them, make sure they get killed, and there's a lot of money in it for you if you just pull this off. Something, I don't know, something happened. These guys just disappear. You ever read between the lines in your Bible? Sometimes the silence, sometimes the things that aren't written about in the Bible are just about as inspired as the things that are. You know what I'm talking about? It's funny how these soldiers just disappear from history. Josephus never writes about them. Historians never write about them. You don't find them in Fox's Book of Martyrs or anything like that. They just vanish. They just sort of, somebody got rid of them. These guys saw something very big. And if they were concerned about saying something on their own, don't you know they could have got together with 2 or 3 of their buddies there and said, hey, let's get together and go tell our story. Let's back each other up. What we saw was huge. It was amazing. It would have been told. But these guys were shut up very quickly, and they never lived long enough that they could enter the ministry or become a big mouth about what they saw. Now, some secular sources, and I'm sure you guys could teach me a lot about this. I almost got a hold of Militello, because if someone is going to be able to give us some secular examples, it's either going to be Robert Militello or Dr. Grady, and they would know where, hey, the mafia came along or the CIA or whatever, and they said, hey, don't worry about it. We'll secure you, but these, the individual or individuals in question, they were witnesses. Maybe somebody that was involved in assassinating Kennedy, like Oswald, the Patsy. I'm sure you guys have all kinds of examples you could tell me about where someone was a witness and they needed to be used for the job, but right after the job was done, they needed to be snuffed so that they were no longer a mouth that could ruin everything. And if you ever look up, I've been around long enough that I remember the whole Clinton thing. I don't know if you remember the Clintons, but let me just give you a few examples. There's over 50 people who were witnesses to the wrong things that were associated with the Clintons. You talk about mafia, who wound up just mysteriously dying. Victor Razor II was National Finance Co-Chairman for Bill Clinton. He died in a plane crash along with his son and 3 others, July 30th, 1992, during a fishing trip. Mary Mahoney was a White House intern who in the early summer of 1997 was gunned down inside a Starbucks in the Georgetown suburb of Washington, D.C. The robber entered the store and shot Mahoney after she attempted to take his gun. Vincent Foster, Deputy White House Counsel Vincent W. Foster, was found dead in Fort Mercy Park in Virginia, outside of Washington, D.C., July 30th, 1993. An autopsy determined that he was shot in the mouth and no other wounds were found in his body. His death was ruled a suicide by 5 official investigations, but he remains a suspect of conspiracy theories. You look up a lot of these things, you do some studying on a lot of these things, and I think some of this stuff might have been in Dr. Grady's books, where these guys wind up, they have like rope burns on their wrists, and they're shot in a place like in the back of their head where you wouldn't shoot yourself if it was suicide, things like that. But then, oh no, he was just shot through the mouth, and it was just a suicide, and you don't get the real report on what really took place. Jeffrey Epstein, convicted sex offender, being held on federal charges of child sex trafficking, was found dead in his cell at the High Security Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan, 2019. An official autopsy later declared the death to be a suicide by hanging. And you guys know all about that stuff. It wasn't a hanging. The neck wounds, throat wounds were telltale that he was strangled to death. And of course, there's Christopher Sign, there's Jovenel Moisey, there's all kinds of that kind of stuff associated. There's over 50 associated with the Clinton Mafia. You have the mysterious deaths surrounding Obama. Andrew Breitbart died of a massive heart attack walking outside late one night alone in the dark, approximately 1 week before he was to produce tapes of Obama's extremist activities in college. Breitbart, quote, "Wait till they see what happens March 1st. Breitbart's footage shows Obama palling around with terrorists, so on and so forth. Steve Bridges dies at 48, impersonator who offended Obama. Appears to have died of natural causes. The deaths of SEAL Team 6, who never would fly an entire company in one helicopter alone, but they did. Cam Kuwata was found dead inside his Venice home after friend, concerned that they had not heard from him in a few days, alerted police. Allegedly viewed bizarre drug-induced behavior from Obama during the 2008 campaign. Bill Gwatney, a close friend of Bill and Hillary Clinton, superdelegate at an upcoming convention in Denver, was fatally shot in 2008. Shooter had a post-it note with a mysterious phone number. On and on and on and on. I've got pages here of people who were found dead and all, suicide or some, they were just walking around at midnight for no reason on the street and just fell over, like the day before they were supposed to expose somebody. That kind of thing happens with your mafia groups. You remember the whole time Clinton was in office, even before he was sworn in, this deep state, which included the news mafia, which showed you that the news mafia is in bed with the deep state, they started attacking him left and right, and all these fake scandals and fake this and fake that, and it was a crap storm from even before day one. Riots in the streets that were being paid for, and the whole thing. You guys know all this stuff. This thing has been going on for thousands of years. There's no new thing under the sun. And when I got here in Matthew 28, and I was going past 14, I'm like, wait, slow down. Like I've told you guys, you need to slow down when you're reading. And if this come to the governor's ears, we will persuade him, liars, and secure you. Don't worry about it. We're so worried about you. You can trust us. We're not liars. We care about your life. We'll secure you and make sure that you keep on living so that you can just blab down the road. No. I think most likely they didn't have them killed. Not so easy getting all these Roman soldiers killed. I think what happened was they allowed them to get killed, knowing that the minute it was found out that they fell asleep, and they fell asleep on their post. Remember in the book of Acts, what shall I do that I might be saved? Because he came down, Paul was allowed to escape from the prison, and he said, what must I do that I might be saved? And Paul said, believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and thou shalt be saved, and thy house. And the prison guard was going to kill himself right then and there, because he knew I'm not going to be given time for a trial or anything else. Something just really grisly is going to happen to me right away, and I'm not even going to have time to give my case and say, hey, this miracle took place, like in Matthew 28. This miracle took place, and the prison doors open, and everyone escaped, or that kind of thing. I thought they were going to escape. No, he was ready to just kill himself right there on the spot. So I think what happened in Matthew 28:14, these lying priests, these lying chief priests, let them be killed. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if after paying the soldiers to say what they said, they then paid the governor or paid somebody within the government to make sure that these soldiers were killed. I mean, after all, there was a good motive. Hey, they slept on the job. They slept on the job. So they might have paid the governor after they paid the soldiers. Hey, can you just kind of get rid of these guys? Here's some money here. We'll do you a favor. I'll do a favor for you. You do a favor for me. If I have something in this hand, something might be in this other hand. You know what I'm saying? Something like that took place. It did. But I never saw that before. I don't imagine I ever saw that before. So I just wanted to share that with you. All right.